All right, so here we are with another episode of Minecraft. This week we are finally going to build our honey farm. I think that I started setting up this about a year ago and then immediately stopped working on it, which is unfortunate because that meant that for a year I've had all my bees in the chest not doing bee things. I know that honey can be used for redstone and decorations, so I wanted to finally have a working automatic farm like the rest of my small farms around my base. But that apparently didn't happen because I just procrastinated for too long. So, anyways. Oh, and be sure to leave a like if you liked the video and subscribe. I also might need to move my wool farm over at some point because I spend most of my time over here, so it's not doing much, but like the bee farm and the slime farm, we're just going to add it to the list of things that need to get fixed, except for the bee farm. We're taking care of the bee farm today. For this build, I'm following the tutorial by Nivola MC. They have very pretty farms on their channel. Because I am largely following what they did with some small changes, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the build. It's for the full video, you can go and look at their channel because they will do a lot better at explaining it than I will. I do have a time lapse at the end, but again, it's not in big detail and I forgot to turn it on sometimes. I built the farm based off of the tutorial, then went back and swapped out the wood. I'm fine with spruce, but I felt like it was just a little bit dark compared to some of the stuff, which is funny considering that my tower is made of very black stone. One other change that I made, which I knew I was going to do when I first saw the build, was make the roof out of moss instead of glass. I think the idea of having a little greenhouse with a green roof full of flowers was kind of cool. This did mean that I did have to pay a little bit more attention to the light inside the building so no mobs would spawn there because obviously not as much light would get through without the glass on the roof. The tutorial had all the materials listed that I needed to make the build, but I still happened to miss half of the supplies and have another half left over. So if you're going to do the build, maybe pay a little bit more attention to the materials that they list than I did because I clearly missed some stuff. So without a further ado, here is the slow-mo version of the build. Once I got the bee farm up and running, I started to clear out the rest of the dirt around the tower. I didn't want this to be all flat. If I did, I would have just played an all flat world. But I did want to clear up the kind of weird mound that was in the middle. But I also didn't move the villager that's in his little dirt box. Part of me is concerned that he's going to link to one of the barrels in the bee farm, and I'm going to be stuck with him over here for the rest of the time. I wouldn't mind if he was like a fisherman. I just don't want him living in my bee farm and opening the doors and letting all the bees out, especially considering how hard it was for me to get all of the bees into the main bee area. Once that got cleared out, I added in some more wheat to the field. I think it's almost full. I do like how it turned out. I still haven't finished the windmill, but for now, I like it. It looks cool for the most part. There do need to be some more lights in the area at some point. Having no torches on the ground, unless it's intentional, would be really cool. Just having that extra light source that felt a little bit more natural, maybe a couple more pathways, and some of these cool lamp towers. One really nice thing that happened while I was working on the wheat field was that I confirmed that the farm does work. It's just very slow, which is a bit of a bummer, but also expected. I'm mainly glad that it's just not another pretty thing. Not that we have a lot of those pretty things. The castle is probably the only real thing that's pretty, that serves no function, and something that I'm willing to admit looks pretty. Even if I couldn't get the stairs to work, which is also true. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Leave a like if you liked the video. Comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.